when he says, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom, he must have heard something that instilled that faith in him to make that confession.
There was something that changed him from abusing Christ to...
Absolutely. Exactly. Come to the Gospel of John, chapter 18. And this is what the beauty of the different gospel writers. We saw Mark gives us the hours. Now look what something John gives us that no other gospel writer gives us. And when you piece these things together, you get the most wonderful story of righteousness by faith and how God saves a condemned criminal on the brink of eternity. John 18, verse 33.
Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again, and called Jesus, and said unto him, Art thou the King of the Jews?
Very important that John mentions here the judgment hall. We see this is where Pilate, who was the governor, would pass sentence on the criminals who were going to be most likely crucified or whatever the following day. And so there's not, I was going to say a good chance, but I'm not going to say there's a good chance. The thief is there. Yes, it's true. I acknowledge the Bible doesn't tell you he's there. But when you're going to see what Jesus says and what this thief said on the cross, he heard something.
Well, it makes sense if he was there because he was getting crucified as well.
Absolutely. Another thing that's really interesting with this story is, it says in Isaiah 53, he's brought as a lamb to the slaughter, yet he opened not his mouth. We know that entire night of trials that he hardly ever spoke. One or two words, but he hardly ever spoke at all.
That's true.
It was his time, and he knew that he had to go through with this. He could have defended himself greater than anyone. He wrote the book of Deuteronomy. He knew the book of the law. He could have confounded them all, but he didn't. But he says something so important now. He says it 3 times. And he's not just speaking to Pilate, the Lord knows. Look what he says. John 18, verse 36. In answer to Pilate's question.
Jesus answered, My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence.
He hardly spoke a word all night, but 3 times in answer to Pilate's question, he says, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom was of this world, my servants would fight, but my kingdom is not from hence. And here's the other criminal who's also going to meet his sentence that night, hearing those words. And 3 times he hears Jesus say, my kingdom is not from hence, my kingdom is not of this world. And then he says to him on the cross. And remember, Pilate also asked him, art thou the King of the Jews? He says, Lord, remember me when thou comest into my kingdom. Because he heard him say, my kingdom is not from hence. It is not of this world.
He knew it was a future kingdom.
Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God.
Literally the word of God.
There's a few words. He didn't have to memorize the entire Bible, but a few words, and he acted upon them. A man who was facing eternal death